So obviously we're all creatives, and the thing I really struggle with is knowing like how to organize my time. Usually I'm like a squirrel. I just tackle like the biggest pile of things. So I would love to know, how do you organize your week? You do a ton. I don't know how you do it, but I'd love to know like social media, website, shipping, painting, all the things. So what's your secrets?
Yeah, and I feel like this can go in a lot of directions, so I'll start big and then we can get into some nitty-gritty stuff. But I
Yeah.
think what I like to do first is have a loose calendar plan. So for me, I try to have a focus every month. And for some of you, it might look like every week or every quarter, but between all my different things I'm working on, I really like to say, you know what, this month I'm going to put more of my energy into the club, or I'm going to put more of my energy into a specific collection launch. And I think to put that in context for you, it might be like, Joe, it's June. June, I'm going to really focus on like my galleries or gallery
Right.
outreach. July, I'm going to really
Right.
focus on XYZ. So that's like the starting point. And I find that helpful because then you can start to say, like, one, you have a list of priorities, just kind of like, I'm going to put 80% of my stuff there.
Right. Right.
Then I like to think of week to week, what are my glass balls versus like my rubber balls? What do I absolutely have to do? So I have a very short non-negotiable list. So I absolutely have to get it done. For me, and this is just what I tell myself, because like theoretically I don't have to do these things, but I like to.
I need firm deadlines.
Yeah. So every single week I tell myself I have to get a podcast out. I have to send a Substack out. That's like my thing. For you, it might be like, I want to get an email out once a month and I want to post at least twice on social media. Like, it doesn't really matter. But for me, having that baseline makes me feel like if I do those things, I'm progressing the business side of my business forward, and then everything else is extra. So I don't have a super long non-negotiable list, but have your what's moving the needle the most. And honestly, for me, I've figured out that like the podcast is great for like retaining and like chatting with all of you basically. And then my email list is great because that's where the most like across any of my businesses, like that's where the most sales and conversations and stuff happen. So those are my non-negotiables. Right. I think for any of you, look at your analytics, and I would say probably all of you need to have one that is business related. Like I need to get an email out once a month. And then I would say like you need to have something that requires you to be in the studio, because I find most of the stuff we're thinking about, like, oh, I want to find my style, or I want to grow, or I want to, get a bigger following, is going to come by you painting. Like you're going to have more materials to market if you're painting more. You're going to be able to sell more if you're painting more. So you want to definitely build that into your calendar too. I'm going to pause for a second because I could go in like a million directions. Initial reactions from you or anyone else, like areas you want me to build on with time management. Do we feel good with that?
I love how you said non-negotiables and had like a really short list of non-negotiables. That's super tangible to think about.
Yes. I think the non-negotiable list is really helpful for me too. And I think this will be helpful for you because, like, for example, the summer is a little bit slower for me and maybe I want to take a week-long vacation, or I'm sure, all of you have like a crazy week where you can't get that much done. When you have a really short non-negotiable list, I can plan my two things, like the podcast and an email, a week in advance or a month in advance if I know I'm going to have like a week or two out of the office, versus if you feel like I have to do 1,000 things every single week, it's a lot harder to, plan ahead and still get those things done. Instead, you're like, I'm off. Like, I don't know, like so much needs to be done, and it can be a lot more stressful. So this makes me feel like I know the minimum to keep the business progressing, and then I can just pile on those other things as I have time. So I kind of like rank my activities based on what's the most important. And then obviously week to week, like you got to do the commission, you got to ship the commission, but like it's nice to have that kind of marketing baseline.
Yeah.